I think that Ignacio was being very modest when he was talking about his efforts and what they were doing. I'm from Los Angeles, and I came into town on the red eye on Monday night, and I finally, after about, I think, almost over 3 years, I finally got to meet Ignacio, and I absolutely got to meet Mike. Mike just kind of came into my life because of Ignacio about 4 or 5 months ago when we started working on this conference. I'll tell you that story today. They've worked so hard, and they have been sleepless nights for about the past 3 weeks, and they are so excited about today. So if you guys, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be perfect anyways. Show them so much support. Tell them what a good time you're having. Give them encouragement, because they are wrecked right now, but they are so happy and elated. And I don't even know if they have the energy to express that. So my gratitude goes to them. I am so impressed with what they did. So today I'm going to kind of talk about something. When I went out to dinner with the guys on Tuesday night, I finally asked them, like, how do you guys know each other? Did you work together? What did you do? And they kind of looked at each other and they go, yeah, well, we did and we did. I mean, we worked at the same company. We weren't working on the same project, but we were kind of within there. I used to pass by his desk and he would pass by mine, and we just like kind of say hi a little bit. Then we went to lunch and we got to talking. And the way that that Mike and Iggy kind of like just being together, just being at the same table and eating a burger with them, these two guys like fit together like peas and carrots. And I was like, okay, I get it, because all these years, the integration of UX and Dev has been like this big taboo. Like, you want to keep these separate. I mean, I go out of my way to say, I don't want any of my UX people to know Dev, and I don't want any of my Dev people to know UX. But the world is changing. It's changing a lot, and everybody's looking for unicorns, and UX is coming into common consciousness, whereas nobody knew what it was about 5 or 7 years ago. And I think that this is the cutting edge of what's going to happen. I developed a program. I was part of developing one of the first UX certificate programs at Cal State Fullerton in Los Angeles. And we have a roundtable every year. And we invite 20 people from the community to just come in and talk about things. And predominantly over the last 3 years, it used to be like nobody wanted to say anything, and then it's coming up to consciousness now that the future of this is exactly what he's talking about, is the blending of the UX and the Dev. And it's kind of a little scary to me, but it's exciting at the same time. So with that, we're going to talk about the integration of the two. I've given this talk in modification, and I was trying to figure out whether or not I should go a little bit about UX process. I'm going to kind of not do that, and I can stop and just quickly go over UX process. But right after this, I have a fundamentals of UX process workshop. So anybody who wants to know more should come to that. Today I'm going to talk about a case study. I'm going to talk about something that I have personally gone through and I have dealt with, and how I've dealt with it. So I've changed it from collaboration to integration. Let's see if my clicker works today. Let's see if the technology works. This is me because I'm in Florida. This was an art thing that I went to when there was face painting, and so this is supposed to be me as a adult. So there we go. You're probably wondering, like, who is this girl? Why is she there? And what's going on? Well, about almost 4 years ago, I ran for a seat on our local chapter of UX+DEV. Does anybody know what UX+DEV is? You do? You do? Okay, we've got some people. It's User Experience Professionals Association. It's a worldwide professional association for people who practice user experience. And it's kind of like being the Bar Association, but I don't know. So I took over our LA chapter. When I took over in 2012, we had about 298 members. And LA is a really, really big place. Really big place. If anybody's ever been there. And it's the second biggest area of development and technology. I mean, we have Silicon Beach there. We have all kinds of stuff there. Why in the world is this going on? So I took it over, and here we are in 2016. And we have we're heading close to 3,000 members. We had 19 Twitter followers, and we almost have 2,000 thanks to my marketing director, who's sitting right there in the back and joining me in this trip. And we have, I don't know if any of you guys know Jared Spool. He is the founder of UIE.com. So we want to say what it is. User interface engineer, yes. He's an amazing guy. And we had him come speak in LA on Monday night. It was a wonderful event, and he did a great talk. And we just kind of keep growing, and we keep doing this. And on top of that, you know, I've done, let's see, come on, technology. I've done this. This is part of my design. I was on the design team for this. This was a giant project we started in 1997. It was called, oh, thank you. It was the beautification, phase 1 beautification of LAX. And if we had more time, I would go into the story. We talked about a user experience story. It was one of the most amazing things I think that I've ever been in. But the whole premise was, the objective was, let's have LA have a little bit of a different icon than the Hollywood sign. What else? What else would really typify LA? And what we did is we kind of looked at what the predominant quality was. It was a big, expansive area. And so we made these big, giant monuments, and this is right by the airport, and these pylons go all the way down this like 9, 10 lane wide street called Century Boulevard. And they start out at 8 feet and they go all the way up to 50 feet to mimic taking off, to mimic a person in flight, to mimic the freedom and the openness that you feel in LA. And it's become quite an iconographic symbol of LA. It's on the news every night when you go and you look at your local weather, so that should say something. I also, come on, clicker, Apple products. I also worked on Palm Wonderful. We started this in 1999. It was a 9-year development process to come up with the bottle and the logo, if you believe that. It was very lengthy. It was very involved. It was one of the frustrating and funnest projects I've ever been on. I still work on it. We test new products coming out, and there's been all kinds of things that have come to the market and failed, but it's a pretty cool product. Anybody know Beachbody and see the commercials on TV? There you go. So Beachbody was started by a guy in Malibu who inherited like $25,000, about 30 years ago, and he made an ab doer. Those things that are supposed to help you do your crunches. So this guy is a funny guy. He took that $25,000 and he made an infomercial out of his prototype for the ab doer. I think that's exactly what it was called. And if you look at the fine print, it said shipping 8 to 10 weeks. So he put this commercial on late at night, one of these infomercials, and he made tons of money. And then he developed it and went and had it manufactured. And he shipped it almost exactly at 10 weeks. Needless to say, he was very successful. And I just finished about 2 years ago, this ended about 2 years ago, a big new branding push for the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. And I haven't seen any of them around here, but we have quite a few in LA, and I know they're worldwide. So some of that stuff will still be coming out of the market. There's their logo, UXPA LA. We're also sponsoring, and we've been very involved in what the guys are doing here. I personally, besides being president of UXPA of LA, I own 2 firms. I have a background in economics, but finance just wasn't for me. And I always loved fine art, and I found myself working in an advertising agency, and I was mentored and taught advertising and design. When I was 23 years old, I opened my first design firm. And I was young and dumb and stupid. And that was probably the perfect thing to be, because I had no idea the things that I was doing wrong and stupid. So you kind of carry on anyways. But what I did do is I used my insecurity to my advantage. It was inherent in me that I make things that people were actually going to like or to buy or to need and use. And I had never heard of UX. But the questions that I was asking my clients were not the questions that other design firms were asking. I was asking things like, who's going to see this? How is this going to be used? How big is this going to be? What's going to happen to this? And this was back before email and internet, because I'm like really old. And this is when this is when you would fax things. So you had to figure like, well, you've got to make a logo that'll look good on a fax and not just this big blobby black thing. So I was asking the questions, and weirdly, without any design experience and looking back at my work, not really that good, I was keeping my clients and I was making money because whatever I was doing was good for them. So fast forward to product and what we're doing now and the importance of UX and usability. What is the first thing people will do when a site is difficult to use? They dump their homeless shopping cart in the mud and they abandon it and they say, this is not for me, this is stupid, I'm not going to come to this website, I'm not going to buy anything from this anymore. So we fix it. That's kind of what we do. But I think you all kind of see with the few things that I showed from my portfolio that UX isn't just digital. And that's something I kind of preach a little bit. It's not just about mobile and web apps. It's about the chair that you're sitting in. It started out with this subject called ergonomics, the study of the human anatomy and how we interact with things that are not human, our chairs, our toothbrushes, our cars, anything. There's a story in that I'm going to tell in my UX Essentials class, so if you're going to be there, you'll get to hear it. We do a lot of blame and bitching, and we get things like, it's hard to use and ugly, I just don't understand how to use this, the performance of this application sucks. Was this application designed for me or an engineer? Poor engineer, they always get that. Bad rap. Engineers are the most creative people that I've ever met in my life, so it's just this cliche. This is one of my favorite quotes. What makes a great product team? A desire to give control over something to a colleague who can make it bigger, better, and more beautiful. And I can't emphasize that enough, the act of collaboration. And I think that's what Iggy was talking about. Is getting people together and collaborating and kind of giving up that ownership in return of having even greater stake in ownership. You need more coffee? Go get a cup. All right. So I'm going to tell you a story, a real life story. I do a lot of digital products too, and I structure my company so that everybody that works for me is a contractor, a freelancer. When I had my brick and mortar, I had employees, but California is like super expensive, so now I have contractors, and everybody's happy. I have this developer that I've worked with quite a while. His name is John. It's not his real name, but let's assume it is. And he is the cliche. He's grumpy, and he's surly, and sometimes he bakes, and he eats a lot of pizza, and he drinks Mountain Dew and Gatorade, and he's, I feel like it's, does anybody watch did anybody watch Scandal? Okay, do you know the murderous guy in there? Huck, yes. He's a little like Huck, and I'm his Olivia a little bit, I would say that. So he knew that I was into this thing called UX, and he's a brilliant developer, brilliant developer. Anything that I want from him, he always says no. He's the guy on Star Trek where it can't be done, I don't have enough power, it's impossible. He always asks me to do things, grumpy, I hate you, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Go do it. So he does, and usually it's within less than 24 hours, he'll give me something to look at. He's phenomenal. And I pay a lot for him, and it's totally my pleasure to do that because he's so wonderful. Well, it's come to this diminishing return point, and this happened about 15 years ago, where I knew that I needed him. I knew that I needed my developers more involved with the UX process, because in the way that I practice, in the way that I like to practice, my developers, you guys sitting here, most of you guys I think, you're the most expensive part of my process. You guys are billing yourselves out for a lot of money, and you deserve it. You definitely deserve it. You build things, you make things work. So in my process, if it's let's say an imaginary 6-month UX process, you would come in about month 5. And by the time you walked in and got the project from me, everything would have been worked out. You just kind of take everything and build it, and it's beautiful, and we test it, and you do 1 or 2 tweaks or whatever it is, that's in a perfect world, and we launch an MVP. So that's my fantasy, but, broken dream. So, you get the idea, you get the cliche about John, and I kept bugging him, and I kept saying, come to the usability test with me. Come and see this, come to our iteration meeting, get online. We do a lot of stuff online, a lot of collaborative whiteboarding. We use a product called Mural. It's one of the best products out there because everybody that works for me works remotely, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys in this audience work remotely too.
So we do a lot of whiteboarding, and Mural's a fabulous program. So, come on, John, get online, you know, offer up whatever you want. So he would, every once in a while, he'll get online. But, you know, he's got his headset on, and he's listening to something else, and he's coding. So all we're doing is seeing his face, looking at his other screen, coding, and he's not saying a word. You see him eating, and he'll get up and stretch and go to the bathroom. He's not paying any attention. How do I get John to pay attention? Anybody have a clue at this point? Anybody? Anybody figure this problem out? Yes, we're getting there. Yeah, you guys are really good. Okay, so I didn't know we do that this school. But he would have, so John would have all changes complete, most of them. But this is another thing that I notice about a lot of my developers that are kind of resistant to participate in the UX process is they'll get our prototypes, they'll get all our briefs and everything, and they'll do what we want, but they'll kind of do it the path of least resistance. They'll do what they want, they'll incorporate the things that they know how to do and that have worked and have worked with other products. And that's great, that is great, but there's a reason why we go through UX, and there's a reason why we have all these teeny tiny little things that can be like just stupid and annoying, but in reality for a user, those little tiny micro interactions or little tiny things can sometimes make or break an experience. So getting you guys involved in this and getting John involved in this was a challenge. So I wanted John's input, my teams wanted John's input. I own a visual design firm and I own a UX firm. We go through the same iterative process in whatever we're doing. When I tried showing him wireframes, he didn't want to see it. He just wanted a list, and he wanted pictures or a prototype, and he wanted me just to tell him what to do. Just give him a list and just go away, you know? And I felt like I was being a control freak. I felt like I was micromanaging him. I was the boss, and I was feeling like this. And I'm like, I shouldn't be feeling like this. And I love this quote. This language is limited and that stuff would break, so I don't think you should build it. I know, these are things that he's actually said to me. Over and over again. This can't be done, whatever. I think you guys get the point. Let me move on. So, my team was starting to get resentful of John. We needed him. We needed his input, we needed his expertise, we needed his years in the field, we needed all this about John. And John was frustrated and felt like he wasn't being listened to, that he just didn't want to participate. Come on. Let's go on. So, who said pizza? There's a deli. I live in the west side of Los Angeles. There's a deli in the west side called Bay City's Deli, and it is like a New York deli. It's amazing. They make their own bread every day. It is the most amazing thing. And after like 30 years, they still have lines outside their door. I think it's the only place in LA that is like this. It's wonderful. And it's pricey, but it's his favorite place in the world. So I said, hey, I'm bringing Bay City's in. We're just going to have a little meeting. Is it worth your time to drive in? He doesn't live very far from me. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll come in. So it wasn't really, he'll come for food. He'll come for free food. It wasn't really a meeting. It was kind of deceptive. When he walked in, I had all the Bay Cities there. I had all his favorite salads, marinated mushrooms, the whole works. I had his like capicola and his cheeses and his pastries, everything. It was a spread. It was John's smorgasbord. And the other thing that I had going on was I had DVDs, usability tests going on, and my big screen TV in the same room. And all these years, John had absolutely refused to watch. Refused. So what happened? What happened? He watched them. He did watch them. And these were tests of stuff that he had just done. And John watched, he paused, he rewound, and fast forwarded all the tapes. He was at my house for 9 hours. I had to kick him out. I'm like, you gotta go home now. I'll call and get the pizza guy. You can take the pizza home with you, but you gotta go. I'm done with you today. John watched the tapes. John took home a bag of DVDs with him. And he continued to watch them to the point where I had to take them away so he could do work again. And the next day, I brought bagels into our work area. And John was told to bagel some coffee, and he didn't just grab 3 and leave. He stayed. See the nice little warm kitties there? This is 15 years of this. The grumpy grouchy attitude came out, full throttle, 2 cups of coffee. I mean, he was still there telling everybody, no, it can't be done, and this is stupid, and everybody was kind of still going, I thought you fixed this. What's up with this? You know? He's just sitting here in person. We have to smell him and deal with this. It's not a solution to this. So we set some rules up. And I had to really sit there and enforce these rules because I thought, in a typical iteration process, we get messy and we get angry and we get passionate and we offend each other, and we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to be breaking things, and we're supposed to our passions are supposed to come out there. This is how we build good things. But you're never going to get past that if that's all that's coming out of your mouth and you don't say anything constructive. So we had to make some rules. Rule 1, when giving feedback or commenting on another's work, start with 2 positives. So, what's your name? Alex. Alex, I really like that you look refreshed and you look like you had a great morning, and I'm so glad that you're here, and it's so nice to meet you. I don't think you should have worn those shoes. I think that maybe you would have been more comfortable in tennis shoes. You still have a smile on your face. It's a very tried and true thing to open someone up, but if you come and if I said, Alex, what is wrong with you? Why did you wear those shoes today? That was a really poor choice. I mean, I don't know why you would just choose something like that. You would automatically go, that's you, Why would you say something like that to me? So this was a rule. This is a rule that I have with John, is there or not. We all say 2 nice things before we offer constructive criticism. And I don't care if we're there for 6 hours or 2 hours or 10 minutes. That is the hard rule in my company. And it's catching on. And it's something that I preach and practice. Rule number 2, get over arguments quickly and move on. It's not about you, but it's about the work. Remove your ego. It has nothing to do with you. And if you're working in this kind of work in product development, and I hear the word I like, but I wouldn't use that, you are very, very quickly corrected because you're not the user. You're the creator. You're never the user. And I have this argument, not really an argument, but I mentor a lot of college students, and they constantly come up to me and try and prove me wrong, that they can develop and be the user at the same time. And I'm like, really? Really? So you're God and Jesus Christ. Is that what you're saying? And you're here on earth. So you are the user. You're everything. You're the Holy Trinity. And you have an objective perspective on what you're doing. You may use this product, but it doesn't mean that you're the user. And as a developer, you're never the user. It's that little conundrum of chicken and the egg, but it's not. So there we go. Remove the ego. Completely remove the ego. Because it's not about you. And don't argue from your ego, because you will be called on it. And duly so. Rule number 3, make the right time. Make time for each other, and recognize that we're all a very crucial part of the team. And John had to really understand that. John I don't really think he understood how important he really was, as Ignacio was saying, that developer's point of view, that developer's sensibility, what they think, how they're thinking, how they're actually building the product. The UX designer, the UX professional often doesn't know the process you guys are going through. They don't know how you think, so when we're giving you stuff, we're probably not giving you things that are useful, and that's kind of counterproductive to everybody in this whole process. And in counterpart, you don't know why we're making the decisions or telling you to do the things that we are. And if you get to know the user better, I have proved it, you're going to build some really kick-ass products. But when you don't know that user and you're not in this process with us, you're kind of just a factory worker. And that's the last thing I would want some developer to be, because they are, again, my most expensive part of my process. So I want you to feel good. Rule number 4, get what you need from others and make sure they get what they need from you. Listening, empathy. John with the headphones on the conference call and scratching himself and walking away and going to the bathroom. John's not listening, and that pissed everybody off. And that was a bad day, and it was a bad meeting, and he had done this before. He likes getting rises out of people. That's his little thing. And He was called on it. But this is the thing, when he figured out that we were listening to him, the headset came on, and he started listening to us. And he started paying attention. When he started seeing those usability, the moderated tests that we were doing, it really became real to him. It kind of like broke that third wall or that fourth wall in his head and think, what I'm making, people are really using this. And this is completely different than I thought that they would use it. That was his conclusion after watching, the 20 hours of his first like foray into testing tapes that he saw. He really saw how what I'm making, people are using, and he didn't really realize that it was something completely different than what he had in his head. So listening and validating and just even saying to someone, so I just want to make sure that I'm clear. You said blah, 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 and I just want to make sure that I'm understanding that. That has been a really big thing, because when I'm working on, when we take in a lot of very, very high profile projects, and we're doing these high profile projects, and there's a lot of very egotistical people that are attached to these projects that are not in my office, but our clients are. It's really important that we do listen. It's really important that we are clear. And if we're practicing that internally with each other, we're going to automatically be practicing that with our clients. And it just makes for a way better work environment. I think that's the secret between Iggy and Mike, is they listen to each other. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing to say. Absolutely a romance. And I hesitate to use that word, but it's definitely romance. Rule number 5, share the blame and the fame. I know it's a cliche, but it's true. It's like, something kind of was happening during this process, and the guys were like, what do we do? And I'm like, blame me. No. I'm like, no, blame me. I'm like, the foreigner. I'm like in California. You can just tell them that I was like out of the loop and I made a mistake. Blame me. I'll do it. You guys be good cops. And we worked it out, and it was fine, and it worked, and it was good. Take the blame and the fame. Because if everybody shoulders it, then we're kind of all still, again, sticking together as a team. We're all validating each other. We're all equals and peers in this iteration process, and it's really, really important. Rule number 6, learn from each other, care for each other, stop the laziness, and be kind. I can't tell you how many times I've worked or had developers on teams, and they just get up and you don't know where they're going. You don't know if they're going to the restroom, or you don't know if they're leaving for the day, or you don't know if they're going to get lunch. When I'm getting up from somewhere, I'll go, I'm going that way. Does anybody want a soda or coffee or water? I rarely hear that from my developer guys. And so we've John will get up and I go, John, are you going that way? I think maybe I need a water. Do you need a water? And he's like, I'm sorry, would you like a water? So, the little nudges, they help. He still doesn't automatically do it, but now he kind of gets up and with his pants and he hesitates and he goes, do you want anything? And I'm like, sure, I'll take a water. Just to keep the practice in motion, I'll maybe get me another water or something like that. But I do the same for him. I absolutely do. I know I'm kind of like the mom, and I'm totally fine with that. I don't have kids of my own, so I can be their mom. And then rule number 7, soft skills are the key. You'll get more accomplished. Do you guys know what soft skills are? What? What are soft skills?
You have interaction with your peers.
No.
Soft, yeah.
It's kind of. But I want something more defined. Anybody have anything that they can tell me that's more defined?
Some define as emotional intelligence, being aware of the people around you and what they're doing and how you relate to them.
Yes, kind of. Can you tell me what are your best soft skills?
Listening.
Yeah?
And trying to put myself in that person's position.
Empathy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a soft skill. And soft skills are the things that are going to get you through this iteration process as a superstar, because it's all about who you are and how you relate to people, and if they feel comfortable, and if they trust you, if they feel that you're caring about them, if they feel that you're caring about their product. And learning what is your superpower. Just figure it out. Ask someone who knows you, like, what would you say, if you were to say something about me, like, what am I good at, as a person? Like, am I good at telling jokes? Am I good at, talking on the phone? Am I good at, making people feel good about themselves? Like, what am I good at? And then ask someone that doesn't know you that well. And see what the difference is between the two. and then figure out what exactly it is that you think is really good about you. And I want you guys to start putting a line, a new category on your resumes called soft skills. The VP of Disney reached out to me about 8 or 9 months ago. Here's the exercise. It's to say 2 nice things. So I give this lecture at a place called, we have this thing in California called SoCal Code Camp, and it's an unconference. And anybody can sign up and give a talk. And so I give this talk, and I talk a little bit more about the UX process, but I make them all do an exercise at the end, and they've got to turn to the stranger next to them, and they have to say nice things, and I make them go through this. And it's always really fun and interesting and embarrassing, and everybody comes back for more. So about 8 months ago, the VP of Disney, who hires people for interactive and for all the development and technology jobs, reached out and says, can I talk to you? And I'm like, sure. Well, it wasn't just a talk between him and I. It was like 10 of his people were on the conference call and 2 of mine. So it was a nice, intimate call between us. And basically he was calling to say, I need help. We get these resumes all the time, and we get people that look like they are more than qualified. They're like superstars. And then we do the phone interview with them, and they sound okay. And then we get them to come in here, and they just kind of sit there, and they don't talk to us, and they don't tell us anything. And we ask them a question, and they'll give us one-word answers. Bless you. What can we do? Where can we go? Can you help us with this? And I said, so you're looking for developers with soft skills that are developers, but they're acting like they're visual designers or something. You want them to be fun. And he's like, yeah, where can I find those guys? And I'm like, yeah, you kind of can't. And that's the development unicorn, I think. And, he goes, well, can't we just get like the UX people that does development? And here, I thought of my good friend Ignacio. And I said, yes, they exist, but, that's a different kind of a need also. We didn't really come up with a solution to it, except for to talk to him more about soft skills, and maybe for him to start talking about soft skills, because in this digital world, the thing that's going to get you through in that empathy part, and really feeling the empathy for your user, is going to be exactly that, putting yourself in their shoes. And the only way that you can do that is to develop your own senses of empathy and your own soft skills. It's a big buzzword. It's been going on around in LA, and I think that South Florida and Florida itself are just maybe a few years behind of what we're going through. So try it out. Try that. This is another version of this PowerPoint deck is on SlideShare in my name, but I will post this. But try the exercise. Go home, ask somebody that knows you, find somebody, maybe a new person at work that kind of doesn't know you too well, and ask them. And then write your own list of what you think your soft skills superpowers are, and see what comes of it. That's how you can get in touch with me. I'm on Twitter, and I'm on LinkedIn, and you can email me, and like I said, I'm giving a workshop today on user experience essentials. I'm going to go through the process the first 45 minutes, and then I'm going to have you guys do a really fun exercise afterwards. Tomorrow I'm giving a session on journey mapping, so that's going to be really fun. And then Saturday we have the hackathon. And just to be clear, the hackathon is a very, very, very modified hackathon. So we thought it would be a really good idea, instead of making it like the typical hackathon where you develop, are you okay? You need water? You want a mint? I'm so sorry. You're like my little kitties up there. We thought it would be a really great idea to meld these two and have, because I think there's more developers at this conference, to have you guys go through the iterative process. So you're not going to be coding, but what you're going to be doing is going through the iterative process and come out with more or less a prototype. And you're going to be presenting that prototype. You're going to be working with a mentor with your team. There are going to be 5 people to a team. And I've done this before about 30 times. And it is a wonderful process, because usually in a hackathon you get like a subject. Like there's an AT&T hackathon, and you're developing something so teenagers won't text in their car. This is, here's a subject, here's the obstacles, and everybody's going to do the same thing. And the best thing about it is when we're dividing up into teams, we get to see the multitude of amazing ways that you can solve all these problems differently. and have a completely different outcome. And all of them are absolutely correct. It's really fun. We've got a great first prize donated by Syncano, right? Syncano? Who? No, I'm sorry. Ignacio? First prize for Hackathon. Who donated that again? Oh, we're drawing a blank.
Process maps.
What?
Process maps.
Process maps, yes. Yes, process maps. Process maps donated the first prize. It's a $2,500 prize. It's $500 to each team member of first place. So it's pretty cool, I think. And second prize is $100 per team member, and third prize is $50 per team member. And of course, there's lots and lots of goodies, books, software, all kinds of stuff. We're going to be raffling every day. Make sure you get your raffle ticket. And we found a box to make the fishbowl for the raffle ticket. Last night I sent out an email like at 1 in the morning, so I'm sorry it was so late. But make sure you guys have that parking pass if you're parked in a garage or anywhere on campus. Find it, print it. We have a printer here, and get that parking pass on your car so you don't get a ticket. The website has a pretty good updated schedule for today. It's pretty steady there. Pick your stuff. Where are we at? Oh, we're good with time, huh? We're doing well. Pick your stuff. Go to your sessions. Interact. We've got really good food today. We set up an informal mentoring session. So at 3 o'clock, a lot of the speakers and other seniors from the community are going to be sitting in the atrium, and they're all going to have different specialties. So come and speak one-on-one. I'm going to be there if you want to come talk to me. And bring your resume, or bring questions, or bring work situations, or just anything that's going on with you. Like, where do I go? And I don't know what kind of developer to be, and I'm kind of interested in UX. Anything goes. Anything is fine. Yes?
Sorry, I didn't know if it was the right time for a question.
Yeah, of course.
I was just surprised in your rules, because there's one I've been using sort of informally in my company. I call it the power of thank you.
Yes.
And I've seen over the years that people can go through really, really bad ordeals and everything. But if you don't forget to say thank you at the end, it works out. And it's a small thing. It seems natural, but I've seen so many managers not respecting it that there's a need for it.
I absolutely agree with you. And today, anybody know Nick Offerman of Parks and Rec? Yes. His favorite saying are please and thank you in large quantities. We have a picture of Nick Offerman in my office with his bacon and eggs. So he's a big meat eater. Yes?
We have 5 minutes for our sponsor.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let me see if there's any more questions.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So, this is just like it's fresh off the
Uh-huh.
So oftentimes as developers, we are just in that computer. We are dealing with machine language.
I know.
We're so used to yes, no, it works, it doesn't work. Designers could be on a completely different page.
Yeah, we go on field trips and stuff.
They want to, get their fingers with colors, and they want to finger paint stuff. They want to be creative.
We're mostly card sorting, but okay, we've got different color poster
Those
guys.
two people in a room.
Yes.
And naturally, the one person who's very used to getting very direct, very specific things is now being asked to sort of play in this finger painting arena. And that can be very frustrating.
Why?
For someone who spent the last 20 years of their life being a very technical person. And so I think that what you brought up and things you experienced is natural. I don't necessarily think maybe John was intentionally being the way he is. It's just
no, he does like getting
ones and zeros.
just to qualify, he does like getting a rise out of it, okay?
Okay. But maybe not all of them. Some of us really do sort of need designers to sort of be prepared and get these things defined, because you're just going to frustrate the person who's preoccupied with the architecture and all the stuff behind the scenes.
I agree with you. These rules are not for developers. This is for everybody that works for me, whether they're a developer, because I only have like at any one time maybe 3 developers that are working for me, and I have about 70 people that work for me, so the rest of them are visual designers, UX designers, so this is for everyone.
So my last point is that that's why I believe in the UX role, because it bridges the gap between that designer and that back-end developer. He can sort of be that mediator, that person that can play both sides.
I agree with you. You must be doing good. Go ahead.
One thing to note also is that there's frameworks and processes
Yes.
to aid in not having to have a rule, right? Like, you do this because I say so. There's processes for that
Yes.
that must be looked at.
I agree with you. I needed to give a short talk today, but yeah, I go in depth with this too. I have like a 7-minute PowerPoint slide that I didn't want to overwhelm you guys this morning. I knew I had a short time. Is there any more questions? Because we have our great sponsor that wants to kind of say a few things. Really, anybody, and you can talk to me after. You can come to my UX Essentials. You can catch me at lunch. You can catch me at the mentoring session tonight, or you can ask for a question right now. Anybody have a last question or something to say? Don't be shy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes?
What do we do if there's 2 sessions going on at the same time?
You go to one and see if you like it. If you don't, go to the other one. I don't know. We're going to be taping. We're going to try and tape everything. So when like the tapes will be online, I don't know, but we are trying to get everything done on there. So flip a coin. Anything else? Anything. Okay, we're going to hear from our sponsor, and the last word is go have fun today. Come back and have more fun tomorrow. And just learn and just immerse yourself in this. I think this is one of the most amazing conferences that I have gone to in here. And I know it's the first one, but what they put together just blows me away. So thank you guys for listening to me, and thank you for having me.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this great event. My name is Albert Silvestri. I'm with Emerson Network Power, Avocent. We're proud to be a sponsor of this event. I'm the software engineering manager for the software team. And believe it or not, we are moving to the modern web, which means we're going away from the server side to pure client side with full stack front end. And we're proud to be a sponsor. And also, we're hiring like crazy. We need unicorns. So how many unicorns are in here? Show of hands, please. How many developers are there? UX developers. What about front-end full stack developers? Okay, come see me. A little bit about us. We're basically a $20 billion a year company. The division I'm in is about $5 billion. We really focus on the modern web right now. We're moving a lot of our ADF, the workflow technology, we're putting that from the parking lot. We're moving forward with AngularJS, HTML5, MongoDB, RESTful services with Spring, very modern, state-of-the-art web stack. Part of that means now we have to hire a lot of people to build that. And from the UX side is the most exciting part of what we're doing right now in the UX. We're basically streamlining all of our products to have the same login page, the same navigation, the same user experience. If you use product A and product B, you'll be able to have the same user experience across all of our products. That's the UX side. And then on the development side, we're having a lot of fun. Learning Angular, we're doing a lot of stuff with JavaScript, stuff with WebGL. We're basically a JavaScript shop. Very modern, very quick. Our sprints are normally 2 to 4 week sprints, quick delivery. With that said, I'll open it up if you have any questions. I can try to answer them for you, but we'll be here tomorrow. Myself and a couple other managers of the team will be here. We're at the front. If you have any questions, stop by and see us. Like I said, we're hiring. If you're interested and working on modern web stack, come see us. Thank you.
Okay, go forth and summit. Go, have fun.